Now, I just got off a Skype call with a trainer that's in Austria, and he asked a really interesting question, and it's why I want to share this episode with you today. And he asked, Chris, how do you get so much done in such a short amount of time? And while that might actually give my ego a bit of a high five, the truth is there is nothing really special about it. But what I want to share with you in this episode is actually what you're going to be able to do to actually be able to get so much more done in so much less time. And this really comes down to what I've so thankfully been able to learn from Craig Ballantyne and how he has his perfect day formula and how you're going to be able to start using this from today. As the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and there's a really good chance that you're busy. And with myself having 2 daughters, running 2 businesses, having a wife, wanting to live a social life and take care of myself, there is a finite amount of time in the day in which there is to get stuff done. So you've got to make sure that you make the most of it. And the real fact is just being busy for 12 hours a day doesn't really mean anything. It only really means that you've just been busy for 12 hours a day. Does it actually mean that you've been effective and efficient at getting yourself to where you want to be able to go? And this is so perfect because as I'm trying to shoot this video, little Sunny Bear wants to come up and have some cuddles as well. So this is a part of the beauty of being able to work from home, but also a part of the beauty of how I've got to structure things to be able to make sure that it fits as well. As this really comes down to how you structure your day, as I'm a really firm believer that structure provides freedom. And this is what I've really been able to learn from Craig and the perfect day formula. So let's go through right now how I structure my mornings to make sure that I try and get the absolute biggest bang of the buck for the day. And that is waking up between 5 and 5:15, making sure I get a good chunk of time awake before anybody else wakes up. And I'll wake up, I'll have my water, I'll jump in the pool, but then I can get my journaling done, I can get my meditation done, and I can get some quality writing done. I can get some quality work where my brain is totally switched on and focused. I'd have no more distractions. And also really another important point is there is no social media. That phone does not come off airplane mode until about 9 or 10 a.m. It's all about focusing on what is the most important task of the day that you need to get done and doing that first before anything else comes in your way. Because then by 8, 9 a.m. I can have the most important things done and feel totally accomplished with what I've already been able to achieve. And that's why I want to share with you some really brilliant insights that you're going to be able to take from Craig right now.
I was able to achieve exactly what I wanted in life because I had a very clear vision and I was always on point. And so when you know where you want to get to, I like to do this. When you know that destination that you want to get to, you have a straight line to success, and that is how you achieve exactly what you want in life.
Okay, I absolutely love this, and especially a perfect segue to go into the action attraction into the action, and how does that action actually get performed on a day-to-day level. So just for the listener, because I remember when I was starting to consume your information when I very first started with the online world, and it was me having to go from a personal trainer that was in the gym from 6 in the morning to 6 at night. And then I was like, okay, well, this is great because I can't do anything in between because this is all for my face-to-face business and running my trainers. So it had to be on the outside, and the outside would never be nighttime. I'm not a nighttime person at all. That's not when I operate well. So I had to do it in the morning. And I remember you saying, like, you would wake up 4:30 in the morning, start your work, and then you'd get on your bus, be doing work, getting to your training clients. And I was like, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing. And it was from biting that bullet and then actually being able to be so effective and efficient into getting so much done in such a small amount of time. And I think this has just grown into what you now have really perfected into what the perfect day formula is. So when it comes to the action and someone says, Craig, I want help to be able to get more done in less time, how do you help them go through that process?
It's a great question. And so you described exactly what I did. In 2003, it was up at 4:30 in the morning, which is actually late to me now, but it was up at 4:30 in the morning. I mean, I could have slept until 5:15 and, had a shower and ran after the bus, but, I wanted to get ahead. I wanted to get out of personal training and into the online stuff. So I was up at 4:30, 20 minutes of work on my business, and then, breakfast and shower and walk to the bus stop, and then 20-minute bus ride downtown Toronto. and go and train the clients. And, in between clients, I would work for 5 minutes, and then I would work, on the subway home, because I could take the subway home, but the subway didn't run at 5:30 in the morning. So I'd take the bus in the morning. And I mean, public bus, I mean, you can just imagine 5:30 in the morning characters that are on that thing. But I had some of my best ideas in the subway ride on the way home. I was like up like this, writing on my BlackBerry, writing articles, doing stuff for Men's Health, putting together programs that I would sell, and never wasting a minute. And there's a famous author in Canada named, she just won the Nobel Prize for Literature, short story woman, not Margaret Atwood, but somebody else. And she has this really great quote, which is where she worked in the slivers of time. And this was because she had several young children, and she was writing these short stories while the kids were asleep, or while the kids, were on the bus to school and before she had to go to work. The slivers of time are where people like you and like I become very successful compared to people who are just successful. And so it's really making the most of every minute. So what I do with entrepreneurs now is we deconstruct their vision all the way down to their perfect day in my workshops. And so we need to know exactly where they want to get to, that thing that I did before. And then once we know exactly where they need to get, exactly where you want to be in 3 years from now, what street you're living on, what house you own, your family life, what cars are in the garage, how much money you have in the bank. Then we go, okay, here's what you need to do to get there. And then we put together the blueprints for success. And then we break it down. Okay, if you need to do this in the next 30 days, here's what you need to do in the next 72 hours. Here's what you need to do in the next 24 hours. And here's exactly how your day needs to go based on a few things that I call like magic time, which is a time of day you're 3 times more productive than any other time of day. That's a real big key for success. And then identifying all the obstacles in your way and getting rid of those. And we just dial in someone's day so that they're so productive and so effective that they achieve their big goals and dreams, but they don't miss out on that family time. So, for example, Bedros Keuilian, who many people have heard of, I mean, the guy is running a fitness franchise with over 400 locations, and he's still home at 4 o'clock to play guitar with his son before dinner, have dinner with the family, and then play ping pong with his daughter after dinner, and still have hot tub time with his wife at night, and get to sleep and have a great night's sleep. It's all because he's been following my systems, because he and I have been business partners for 7 years now, and he's just, through osmosis, watched the discipline and structure I put into my days to put into his days, and allowed him to have these big breakthroughs. And so that's what I do. I take 7 years of hanging around me like Bedros had, and I distill it into one day, or in the workshops, or I distill it down into the perfect day formula kit that people can get. And it's all of my information, it's all of my systems to make them incredibly high performers and achieve extraordinary results in every area of their life. And it all starts with the vision and works back down to the day.
I love how you reverse engineer everything, because it just makes so much sense. It's so logical. It's just like, why wouldn't have I thought that before? But it wasn't until you actually step it out that it's really like, okay, there's such a small amount of work that you put up front to then decide, where am I going, what has to be happening, and then chunking it back down to then the beauty of having this is what my day looks like. What are the biggest objections, though, that you're finding maybe when people first walk into these seminars with you, Craig, that they're maybe a little bit hesitant or just not too sure on how to execute this?
Most people suffer from having too much opportunity. There's too many things. Like I can do Facebook Lives, I can do webinars, I can do summits, I can do YouTube videos, I can, do Facebook advertising, I can do all of these things. I don't know where to start. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy with opportunity. And it's a good thing in a way. I mean, it's great to be overwhelmed by opportunity, but we just do this deep dive into self-discovery, and I ask the right questions that they've never been asked before. I basically go Dr. Phil on them for about 8 hours, and we end up identifying what they're really good at, their valuable skills, their zone of genius, and then we start protecting that. And we also bring up opportunities that they totally neglected, totally forgot about. And I also show them like the key leverage points in their business. Like, yeah, you can go and do that busy work, but that's not big picture thinking. And so most people also don't think big enough and clear enough into the future. And so that's the whole key to the visioning. Most people just they're too busy to really think it out. It's classic from Stephen Covey, the 4 quadrants. You have urgent, non-important, which is where most people spend their lives, and then important, not urgent, which is where most people should spend their lives. And then you have the, not important and urgent, and not important, not urgent, where people also waste a lot of time. And so it's really getting them to spend time, get away from their regular workspace and spend time in that important, not urgent area, which allows them to identify what really matters in their life. And therefore we can go, okay, we've got all of the clutter out of your head. Now it's time for clarity on how to get there.
Now it's time for you to get the most out of this, and this is where I can jump in and give the answers that you need. So ask your questions in the comments below so I can personally come through and answer them for you. Plus, the best discussions happen on chrisdufay.com, so click on over to get everything that I've got there for you. And did you like this episode? Because if so, click subscribe so I can send you all the episodes to come for free straight to you. And for everything that I can't fit in these episodes, plus the free guides and coaching episodes, then click on over to chrisdufay.com now. Looking forward to seeing you soon and in the success community.